Oh boy.
All right. What is your name? And tell us your former roles with Manna.
My name is Brian Wallace, and I came to the U.S. Leaving my own country, didn't know the Lord, and ended up, someone shared the gospel with me, and so I ended up going to a Bible college, and I'm so grateful to God for Manna and the path that God led me down through Manna. Manna has been a place, a home in a sense, or a body or part of that church that allowed God to work with someone like myself with rough edges and that to still use me with all of those rough parts and for Him to be able to comfort me and allow me to feel like my life's worth something. I can give something to the kingdom, you know. I get a phone call, and it's Kevin, who's the director. He said, "Hey, how'd you like to go to Haiti?" And so I said, "We'll do it. If the Lord's calling us to it, we'll do it." So we did. We came over to Haiti, and we joined up with a team that was already in place, the Moxon family. We did end up finding a piece of land, and that's how we moved out to Lagacet, where we eventually ended up building a depot. We ended up having houses for us to live in. We built some dormitories. We had groups come in. Manna originally started out as a work amongst young people. It was like a youth group in Redwood City, California, and Kevin was their youth minister. And they came to him and they said, because a lot of stuff was on the news or what was happening around the world, and they said, "Why is it always adults who are going and doing this stuff? Isn't there a place for young people to fit in?" And so he said, "Well, if that's what you guys want to do." And that's how we ended up starting to bring groups of young people into the country. With the turnover of the government, the coups, just the problems, what was happening, youth groups were getting organized. They'd take a year or whatever, excited about coming over, and then they're about ready to come to Haiti and do projects, and you know, there'd be some new revolution going on or something. And so Kevin thought, you know, these guys put all of this effort into it. If we could go into the DR, to the Dominican, and set up a similar basis, we could always, if something happened, we could just divert people over there. And so Tammy and I agreed, and we packed up our stuff, went to an old dump truck, and we headed across the border. And I was going to a congregation in Puerto Plata, and that's where I met Joaquin. And Joaquin said to me, "Oh, where I come from, you know, out in Bobita, they need help out there. There's nobody really working out in that area. You know, getting there, part of what I had to do was get a program up and going, and so as things started going, we were approached by different people like, "Hey, these kids need a place to stay. Their mother has problems, or they abandoned. They're living with the grandmother. They can't take care of them anymore." And so out of that, we saw the need to start a children's home. And so we built that first children's home. And then eventually we realized we were going to need a little more room, so we bought another piece of land through a friend of mine. And so that's how we ended up with that land and built the first children's home on the new place. By the grace of God, He just kept providing for us through groups that were coming in. I think, you know, when I look at what happened in Haiti, in the DR, and Manna's kind of place in the kingdom was not necessarily a foreign mission kind of work, but through these youth groups and people coming through the camp and that, we were affecting kids back here in the States. I mean, we had a large number of young people come through, and in almost every single group you would have some kid that they would just see, oh, I could do this. I want to do this. And so that's how we ended up with our interns. They would come out of groups, then college groups got involved, and we had people come stay longer term and end up going into different mission fields all around the world through the program. So it's all about Jesus. That's what it's all about in the end, It's us being like, through Manna, a community that expresses the love that our Savior has for the world, and us being used by Him to show people in a face-to-face, hands-on way that God cares. He cares about them, and that's the blessing of Manna in my life, and how God used us.